All right, so this is going to be a quick video on what's called the zone of nearest development. And the zone of nearest development, it's probably easiest if I just bring it up here for you, is the zone that we have here. So the zone of nearest development is a tool that I use frequently. I use it actually every day in my work as a clinical therapist in an outbound clinic. I work in a private hospital in an outbound clinic for chronic pain patients. So these patients have pain, persisting pain that doesn't disappear, which means that they have a chronic condition that they need to find a way to live with. Some of them are able to get better. Some of them are stuck with the pain that they have, and development is not possible for them. This model is very relevant for this kind of exact issue. It is also relevant for any kind of process where you are trying to develop and get better at something. The first thing that we want to learn, and the first thing we want to use this model for, is to define our boundaries. So let me just start first by defining the different zones for you. So in physical therapy, I use this model to describe the pain zones for the patients. So the green zone is what's like their comfort level of pain that they can tolerate. The yellow zone is where pain starts to increase, but this is also the place where they have potential to grow. In order to get better, you need to do things that are uncomfortable. And the stress zone is where it's too much too fast. This is no longer a situation where you are able to develop. This is too much too fast, and if you continue at this level, you're going to burn yourself out. Your body is gonna reject what you're trying to do. So that's the zones described very briefly in relation to pain. But the principles are the same if we're talking about this in a more psychological perspective or a developmental perspective. And this is also where this model was originally invented for. So this model describes what's called the zone of nearest development. And the zone of nearest development is the yellow zone. So maybe you've seen a model describing a traffic light before. Well, you know what a traffic light is. You know how a traffic light works. And a traffic light, the green light is go, the yellow is, of course, brake, unless you're a taxi driver, and the red zone is stop. And in this model specifically, it's a little bit different, because in this model, the green zone is actually a place where you don't want to be too much. And the yellow zone is the place that you want to strive to be within. So the colors here means something different than what you normally interpret these colors as in a traffic light. Red zone is still a stop line though. So the comfort zone is where you are, where you're, as the name implies, comfortable. This is what you do on a regular basis without too much difficulty. These are the things where you don't have to spend too much energy in order to do the things that you want to do or need to do. You're quite comfortable here. But we want to be in the comfort zone sometimes, because the comfort zone is also where we recharge, and this is where we regain energy. But we don't want to be in the comfort zone too much. If we stay in the comfort zone too much, and we're like in the very center here of the comfort zone, just like lying in the middle kind of thing, the comfort zone over time can shrink. And this is something that's very important to know about this model, is that the zones can change over time. And the zones change depending on what you do. And if you're too much in your comfort zone, one, it doesn't really contribute to any kind of growth. And two, if you're too much in your comfort zone, you can actually decrease your comfort zone over time. It gets smaller so that things you don't do that much become more difficult over time. And if we go to the yellow zone, the growth zone, and talk about it in a psychological perspective, this is where you have the opportunity to grow, as the name also implies. This is where you have the opportunity to become better at stuff. But being in the yellow zone also comes with discomfort. It is it is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to grow. It is uncomfortable to learn new things. You have to expend energy. You have to expend focus and effort. And it doesn't matter if it's something physical or if it's something mental, psychological, whatever it is. If you want to grow and get better at something, you have to expend energy to become better at that something. And that's why you have to move out of your comfort zone and into the growth zone. So that's actually what we want to strive for when we're looking at this model. We want to strive to get out into the yellow area here, out of our comfort zone and into the growth zone in order to become better. And but we don't want to go too fast, right? We want to find the right pace. And this is why the red zone is called the stress zone. The red zone is too much too fast. This is where we're no longer in growth environment, but we're in a stress environment. This is where we are putting too much on our plate. We're progressing too fast. Our body can't keep up. Our mind can't keep up. And this is no longer a learning situation. This is just survival. And we don't want to be in the stress zone too much. It's okay to be there sometimes. You will inevitably get into the stress zone, and it's not dangerous. But over a longer period of time of being in the stress zone, you will start to feel the negative effect of that. And that can actually, over time, lead to your comfort zone shrinking. And there will be more and more red taking over, like from the outside, kind of going towards the inside, right? So we want to have a balance. We want to avoid being too much in the comfort zone if we want to develop, that is. If you're fine by lying in your hammock all day or wherever you're lying on the couch, chilling, that's super fine. That's your comfort zone. And if you're okay with that, I'm no one to judge. But if you want to get better at something, you cannot stay in your comfort zone. You have to get out of your comfort zone and go into the growth zone. And as I said before, growth zone is uncomfortable to be in, but this is also where growth happens. We want to avoid getting into the stress zone, right? We want to avoid doing too much too fast. If I need to make this more concrete, you can think about it like running a marathon. If you want to get better at running a marathon, you have to be consistent over time and trying to do a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and so on over a long period of time. And this is uncomfortable. This is where growth happens in the yellow zone. And as you do more and more, your green zone will slowly expand. It will get bigger and bigger and bigger. This is what happens when you're in the yellow zone. And I want to just illustrate this by showing you this model here. Don't worry about the text. It's Danish. It's a weird foreign language that you do not know. And we can barely speak it ourselves. It doesn't make any sense. It sounds like we have potatoes in our throats. Don't worry about that. All right, so worry about this part down here. And this just illustrates what I just said. When we work in our growth zone, over time, our comfort zone will increase, which means the things that was difficult before will become will become less difficult over time. Again, going back to the marathon metaphor, if you want to run a marathon, you have to practice at running a marathon. This is also something else that is important in regards to developing. If you want to get good at something, you have to practice that something. And if you want to get good at running a marathon, you have to practice running a marathon. And the only way to do that is to run. You want to do it at the right pace, not too much, not too little. We want to be right in the middle in the yellow zone, in the developmental zone. And over time, your comfort zone will grow. Yeah, so think about it like a marathon. How would you train to run a marathon? If you go about it by trying to do too much too fast, you maybe try and, like, let's say you can run maybe comfortably 2 kilometers today. Would it then, question here for you now, if you want to become better at like running a marathon, would it then be a good idea for you on the first day that you go and try and run 30 kilometers? You can think about that question a little bit. Would that be a good strategy to just try and run 30 kilometers the first day? Probably not. That would probably not be a good idea. And if you did it, you wouldn't have fun doing that. Oh, it's the Danish model I got here. Let's go back to the English one. That would be right into the stress zone, right into the stress zone. Way too much, way too fast. You're not going to have a good time. You're not going to develop by that method. Next question. If you want to run a marathon, would it then be a good strategy to try and run 2 kilometers, let's say, 3 times per week, and just keep doing the same week after week after week? Would you become better by doing that, running 2 kilometers 3 times per week consistently over time? Would that make you better at running a marathon? You're crunching the numbers. It probably wouldn't. It would probably make you good at running 2 kilometers, but it probably wouldn't make you good at running a marathon, because running 2 kilometers consistently over time, week after week, is pretty good exercise, but it's not going to increase your endurance. It's not going to make you stronger towards the goal that you want to get better at. You have to do more over time. If you want your comfort zone to grow, you want it to be bigger at something specific, then you have to do more of that specific thing over time. You have to get into your growth zone, and over time your comfort zone will follow. You challenge yourself, you challenge your body adapts. This is how our mind and body works. Your body is always trying to adapt to the things you do, and it does this both positively and negatively. So what do I mean by that? I mean that if you want to uh, get better at running a marathon, you have to try running a marathon, and over time your body will slowly adapt to it. On the other hand, if you are always laying on the couch doing nothing, this is what your body will adapt to, and your comfort zone will slowly shrink. This is what you will become good at. You will be very good at lying on the couch. And again, if that is what you like to do, I am no one to judge. I also lie on the couch. I think I do it in relatively small amounts. If you like to do it more, that's completely fine. But at least make a conscious choice of saying, that is what I want to do. I'm fine by that, and I'm fine that I am not growing towards other goals. Make a conscious decision about it. Unhappiness happens between our expectations of reality and the reality that we live in. And if our expectation for reality is to get better, but our reality is lying on the couch or whatever, like not working towards the thing that we want to get better at, then there is an inconsistency, and that is going to create friction, and that's going to make you unhappy. So in that constellation, we need to either work on your goal and your effort, which is the reality, or we need to work on the expectation of what it is that you want to achieve. Maybe you're okay with like chilling most of the time and just relaxing and like not working towards goal. Super fine. No one's forcing you to do anything. Um, but if you do want to grow over time, if you do want to get better, then this model is a very good tool to visualize this process and to remember that over time it is possible to get better. But the determining factor is how much do you do it, how often do you do it, and finding the balance between too much, too little, finding the balance between being in the comfort zone too much and being in the stress zone too much. You want to find the golden middle ground, right in the middle in the growth zone, and consistently over time trying to do a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And over time, your body and your mind will adapt and your comfort zone can slowly increase. All right. This was a shorter video of this model crash course. Um, if there is something concrete that you are trying to work towards, make a comment. Let me know in the comments below. It would be super cool for you to share. I will of course reply to it, and let me know if this model makes sense for you. If there's any place, concrete thing in your life where this would be um, valuable information to try and make that process a bit more tangible. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe. That would be wonderful. I'm trying to grow my channel. And yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you so much. And all right, have a very nice day. Bye bye now.